Hello, this is Minder Chen. I'm professor of Management Information System at Smith School of Business Economics, CSU, Channel Island. In today's lecture, we're going to talk about managing change or change management. Under our POLC framework, sometime we will list change management under organizing, but as we all know, a great leader is the one who can introduce major changes and be successful. So managing change should be listed under leading as well. The learning objectives for this unit is after you finish studying it, you should be able to describe why organization change and how to manage the organizational change. Also, you need to understand reason why people, at least some people, resist change. And last not the least, you will learn a few approaches or models that kind of describe strategy or change management processes for planning and executing change effectively. So what is organizational change? Organizational change involves any substantial change in how the organization conduct business. And here are some examples of things change. They include organizational structures, which we just talked about in the last unit. The technology being used may have been changed. In the last few decades, new technologies emerge every 2-3 years. And the customer or the marketplace that we pursue. Changing organizational culture is also a very challenging one because organizational culture is very difficult to grasp exactly what it is, but at the same time, it's a very important factor that affects the success and failure of an organization. And business process change is also a frequent occurring event which require a lot of attention. And how you measure the performance may be considered a major change in your organization. At least that's where most of your employee will care about, is how they will be evaluated and rewarded. Change in your business strategy, policy, and procedure are also considered part of the examples that things may change over time in an organization. So you need to think about, in your experience, what kind of changes in organization that you may have worked or associated with has been introduced. There's some typical reasons for change that include the following. Some are external factors to the organization, such as change in the market condition, shift in regulatory policy, and globalization is another major factor. And technology change sometimes impact a lot of organizations greatly. That's something they need to deal with. There are internal factors to the organization that cause changes. One is maybe the growth of the organization, which they need to grow out of the startup mode. And also change in leadership a lot of time cause major changes in the organization because a new leader bringing new way of doing things. Let's look at some of the factors that cause changes. One is globalization. It's an external change that requires many organizations to change. Globalization brings increased competition. maybe foreign competitor come to our market. However, at the same time, globalization allow some manufacturers or company to have access to production facility at a low cost country such as China, or now a lot of manufacturers are moving to Vietnam or even Indonesia. And the global arena certainly provide new potential markets for a lot of company. So this is one of the biggest drivers of change for US firms in the past 3 decades. The change of technology has been great for the last 20, 30, or 40 years. And partially it's due to the rapid improvement of particular electronic computer communication technology. And there's a law called Moore's Law that asserted that the complexity of computer double every 18 months. If you look at this kind of chart, the CPU or the microchips that's used in a lot of electronic device, their performance double. If it's the same size, the performance double usually in 18 months, and some say 2 years. Or another way I usually would look at it is that if you're buying a computer now, 2 years from now, 2 years or so from now, you can probably pay just half the price to get the same machine with the same speed and configuration. If you pay the same price, you probably will get something which has a double the performance of what you have paying now. And this rapid change in terms of the computer communication technology caused major changes in cooperation in adapting to new and emerging technology. New leader, particular top management level, CEO, presidents, often bring new priority preference and mandates. Some company has leadership change in an orderly manner because they have some kind of succession plan. And then the change brought by the new leader may not be that much. However, a lot of time company bringing new leaderships because they got into major trouble. They want the new CEO coming to fix problems. In this case, everybody expect the new leader to do something and do something quickly to make major changes to fix the problem. But before we think about change an organization or even change the world, here's the quote by Leo Tolstoy, who is the Russian novelist who wrote the famous War and Peace, among other wonderful novels, has stated that everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. There's an article from McKinsey discuss the change leader change themselves. Here's a quote. I'll let you read the quote. You can pause the screen and read it. It was said, it's inscribed on a tomb of a church in England. It was quoted in Chicken Soup for the Soul. But I couldn't find it. Actually, I have this book, but I couldn't find the quote. But this is what I've been told. Anyway, I'll quickly read it. When I was young and free and my imagination has no limit, I dreamed of changing the world. As I grew older and wiser, I discovered the world would not change. So I shortened my sights in somewhat and decided to change only my country. But it too seems immovable. As I grew into my twilight years, in one last desperate attempt, I settled for changing only my family, those closest to me, but alas, they would have none of it. And now, as I lie on my deathbed, I certainly realize, here's the key phrase, if I had only changed myself first, then by example, I would have changed my family. From their inspiration, encouragement, I would then have been able to better my country, and who knows, I may have even changed the world. I found a similar concept or saying in a traditional Chinese classic called The Great Learning. You can actually get access to the book, which has a Chinese and English translation. I modified the translation a little bit, just a little bit. And I'll read just the first paragraph here. The ancient sage who wished to illustrate illustrious virtue throughout the world, make world peace or something, they first order well their own country, which means they manage their country well first, and wish to order well their state. They have to actually just manage their country or their state first. Country and state are the same thing here. When they first, however, in order to manage their country, they actually have to regulate their family. Regulate, you can use management. They have to manage their family related issues, and people who wish to regulate their family, the first has to cultivate themselves as a person, which manage and change themselves. And if you wish to cultivate their person, which means yourself, they must first rectify their heart, which means you need to manage your heart. And when you wish to rectify your heart, you have to sought to be sincere in your thoughts. And you wish to be sincere in your thought, you have to extend to the utmost of your knowledge. And such expansion of knowledge lay in your interest and curiosity in study and investigating different things and subject area. Okay. And by the way, the translation that here, when I read it, I kind of tried to change it along the way a little bit because it was translated almost 100 years ago. And the original Chinese text was written about more than 2,000 years ago. However, you can see actually from the world to the country, to the family, to the individual, and inside in your heart, and then your mind, your thought, but eventually rely on the knowledge, and then your interest in study different things, including people. And that's what gets you started from inside yourself, and expand it to yourself, your family, your country, and the world. That's what the next paragraph is all about. Then you reverse the process. You start with a great ambition, but then you actually narrow down to yourself, and then your heart and soul, and eventually expand that, what you learn, and hopefully you can make some impact. This is actually also very similar to a popular management self-help book by Stephen Covey. And he has written a very famous and popular book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the subtitle is Powerful Lesson in Personal Change. Once again, it's about change. You can actually read a little bit and find something about this book, borrow a copy from the local library. And basically, it's very similar to the great learning that we just read. Stephen Covey's 7th Habit of Successful People basically want people to be improve or develop good habit inside themselves. For instance, be proactive and begin with end in mind, which means set your own goal. Put first things first, which means you need to have priority. Priority is very important. We have, particularly for people who may have many interests, ideas, or dreams, have some priority to put first things first is very important. And once you have those good habits, then you can expand it to relate or influence other people in the public domain. And this is where you actually will create some kind of interdependency. One of the skill or habit is think win-win. When you work with other people, always think in terms of win-win, not zero-sum game. Thinking about synergy, how you can combine the resources, skill set, and objectives with others, other organization unit, strategic partner to achieve greater goal. And another is seek first to understand, then to be understood, which means to be a great listener and understand other people's needs and desire. And the 7th habit is sharpen the saw, which means acquire and learn new skill and technique and or even form good habits which allow you to make changes, not just in yourself, but also to the outside world. Change is not easy. Niccolo Machiavelli, who is the Italian politician, philosopher, etc., and I believe it's in the 13th or 14th century Italy, wrote a book called The Prince. You can get actually free copy. It is out of copyright for sure. That stated that there's nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, and more uncertain in its success than to take a lead in the introduction of a new order of things, which really means making changes. So making changes is not an easy thing, either yourself or organization or even as a country. Why it's difficult to make change? Because you may be passionately believe that your organization must change and change now, but you cannot assume that everyone is on board, share the same. Everyone share the same view or believe that things has to be changed and changed now. And so we actually have to make an assumption, which is relatively true, that it is human instinct to resist change. And another thing which I find this useful, although we all hope that everybody will have the buy-in to change, marching on the same order, But in reality, you need to assume that when people cannot see what is in it for them, then they are unlikely to change. Okay, so certainly you know what's in it for you if you want to make the change, but you cannot make the same assumption. You need to think from other people's perspective, because they will ask this question like, when we cannot see what is in it for us, we are unlikely to change. So you actually have to bring something to the table that they will see there's something for them, which will be brought by the change. Different people respond differently to change. Some people resist actively, and they will fight against the change. They will use various maneuvering and procedure to stop you. Passive resistance, they quietly, they don't do much. It's kind of a wait and see attitude. And so we call it passive resistance. The third type is compliances. They go along with the change, but only because they have to. They're not really excited about the change because they may not see what's in it for them. And the last certainly would be good situation. People are enthusiastic, support the change, and they're openly in favor of the change. So you need to think about why some people resist change, but at the same time, some people welcome changes. And can you think about example in real life that you've encountered people who respond differently to a change? And study has shown that the reason for people who resist change could be the following. People may perceive that they may lost their political power in an organizations because through the change come with organizational structures and redesign, change of organizational structure, and they may be assigned to a lesser important role. Also, so the impact of the change to them in terms of prestige, power, or even compensation may be different. Another reason could be the feelings of uncertainty. This could possibly be taken care of through better communication during the change process. Fears of failure certainly is another one, because if somebody is leading the change and the change did not realize the positive outcome, then they may be punished for fail the change. And how do you deal with that? And because of that, if you don't do anything, they may fall back and thinking about, hey, if I don't make the change, then I won't be blamed for the failure of the change. This is the one reason why people tends to resist the change. One way to deal with this is to create a culture such as Ideal, which is a design firm in Silicon Valley. Ideal has a motto stating that fail often to succeed sooner, which means failure is considered a badge of honor instead of being punished. Change disrupted people's habit, which people feel uncomfortable. That's why they resist the change. And some people have more conservative personality, therefore they resist change. And why great company fails? Great company fail because they don't change with the time. the environment, the time has changed, but they did not change accordingly. Here's in this picture is from Lewis Carroll's novel called Through the Looking Glass. It's a companion novel for the Alice in the Wonderland. It involved the Red Queens here and Alice. They're constantly running but remaining in the same spot. Alice said that, well, in our country, you generally get to somewhere else if you run very fast for a long time, as we have been doing. But even though they're running really fast, but they really stay in the same place. So the Red Queen actually respond, oh, that's a slow sort of country. Now here, you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that. So what is this conversation between the Red Queen and Alice really try to tell us? I'll let you ponder upon it. Let me just quote Andy Grove in his book called Only the Paranoid Survive. He stated, success breeds complacency. Complacency breeds value, and only the paranoid survive. So you may have been very successful, you need to be alert, and only when you are alert, whether you really want to learn from Andy Grove to be paranoid, I'm not 100% sure, but if you're alert about the changing environment, then you will not become complacent, and you would be alert with the possible change and make changes as needed, instead of feel comfortable with your success in the past. So therefore, this is what we stated here. The reason great company failed is their inability to escape the past. The past, particularly the past successful experience. The past success is very hard for company to escape in facing the reality and facing the challenge in the environment. Okay, that's it. We'll continue to discuss change management next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.